The most tragic characters in fiction. That is what we are going to be talking about today. Okay, you ever watch a movie, a TV show, you look at the character and what that character's been through and you think to yourself, brother, you deserve some rest, brother. I think the author themselves has beef with you, okay? Like, sometimes it gets to a point where it's borderline uncomfortable. But then there's other ones where people will, like, talk about, like, how tragic their backstory is. And I always, like, feel like this venom coming up from within. And I have to be like, brother, it's literally not that bad. Not that bad at all. Like, I'm gonna hit you with a hot take early on, bro. Spiderman had a way harder life than Batman. Way harder. I'm sorry, bro. Batman's life... I put Batman in the same caliber of struggle as I put Harry Potter. And I think Harry Potter literally has, like, brother, I'm sorry. David Goggins had a worse life than you. Like, on a real note, dog, like, Harry Potter did not struggle nearly enough for people saying how tragic his childhood was. No, it really wasn't that bad. And then, if you think into it further, there's some characters that I don't think get brought up as much. Like Aang from Avatar The Last Airbender, Talion from Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, and Arthur Morgan and the Struggle King himself, Guts from Berserk, okay? That is what we're going to be talking about today, everybody, okay? We're going to be going through all these iconic characters. Ugh! I had some phlegm right there. We're going to be going through all of these iconic characters, and I'm going to be ranking them on how tragic I believe their life was, or even just their hero's journey in some of these cases, because that literally, their entire life was the hero's journey, is what you're going to be able to find out. If you enjoyed this video, please consider like, comment, and subscribe. We are almost to the yearly goal. I'm not even kidding, bro. We started off the year at 74,000 subscribers. We're about to get to 250,000 subscribers. We have some new experimental content that's going to be coming out. We're bringing back some old different types of videos. Like I am now to the point where I can do, like, side projects. Like, we have this channel. We have the MMA channel, Cage Side Combos, that I'm doing again. We're in a good spot. We're in a good spot right now. I get to talk about what I want to talk about, and you guys get to hear me on your lunch breaks. That's kind of the relationship we have going, and your support is honestly one of the biggest, like, best experiences of my entire life. And with all of that out of the way, let's try to get to 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and 500,000 before the release of GTA 6. Let's get into it right now. Arthur Morgan. Brother, we gloss over just how tragic Arthur Morgan's life was way too quickly. Okay, and the ones that knew brought up Arthur Morgan. And you want to know what? There's only one other character in the RDR verse that I legitimately believe had a more tragic life than him. And it wasn't John, it was Jack Marston. Because Jack Marston is suffering the penance of crimes that were committed by his forefathers. I want you to think about it like that. Jack literally did not have a chance. And you know who else didn't have a chance? Arthur Morgan, brother. Arthur Morgan was abandoned by his family very, very early on and was adopted by the father figure, Dutch Vanderland. And I've talked about Dutch multiple times that I do believe Dutch Vanderland is an altogether. I believe he cared for Arthur and I believe he cared for John. But when people try to use that as a redeeming factor, I think that's more evil. I think the fact that you cared for somebody as if they were your own son and you still betray them because you don't want to take the sacrifice that if you're going to be the father figure of somebody, you have to attain that. I think that makes Dutch even more evil. And Arthur Morgan was stripped of anything that would be a normal life, okay? Arthur Morgan did not have a mother, did not have a father, was taken in at a gang at a very young age, a criminal gang, the Vanderland gang, and this was his family, this is all he known, okay? Arthur Morgan, by all metrics, is a bad man, but we view him as this morally great character because we see the human side of him. We see that he has passions. We see that he has hobbies. He loves animals. He loves sketching. There are loves of Arthur Morgan, and he has this camaraderie with other people in the gang because this is the family that he knows, okay? And he's willing to do anything for this gang because this is what he has, okay? And then you realize that a large portion of this relationship that Arthur Morgan has with this gang, the Dutch Vanderland gang, part of it is because every time that he tries to go out it ends up getting snuffed out. Much like how John Marston was able to get with Abby and they had their son Jack, you look at somebody like Arthur Morgan, he attempted to have somebody. He got with this girl at a bar and then they had a child, and he knew that he wasn't going to be a good father because he knew what his dad was to him, and he thought being away from his child was giving that child a better chance. I don't want to rub off on this child. I don't want to be the negative influence on this child and turn him into another version of me. So I'm just going to support them from afar. And as it turned out, him being away from what would be the mother of his child and his child actually put them in more danger because they ended up getting robbed for what would be equivalent of $25. And now Arthur Morgan went from being a father that didn't want to be too involved as to not corrupt this child, turned out to be the one that had to bury both of them. And that is such a tragic part of Arthur Morgan's character because it's almost like a throwaway line. And that was supposed to be the beginning of the game. Like, not a lot of people know this. RDR2 was supposed to begin with Arthur Morgan getting revenge on a group of bandits, and you weren't gonna find out what that group of bandits did until that revelation, when you realized that what broke Arthur Morgan was the loss of his child, because he believed that being away from this child would give that child peace and a chance at a better life. And I believe that ties back really well into John Marston. And John Marston, basically the last thing that Arthur Morgan does is he realizes that he gave his life and soul to this gang. He lost the mother of his child. He lost his first child. He lost the love of his life. And he's doing all of this because this is what his family is. So he gives John Marston this chance because he's ultimately envious of what John Marston has. John Marston still has the mother of his child, still has his child with him, and he sees that the gang is going downhill. So Arthur Morgan, in his last stints, is not doing something selfish for his own content. He is giving John the chance to live the life that he squandered when he had that ability. And I think that's the most tragic part about Arthur Morgan. Because Arthur Morgan knows that there is a life outside of this. But he does not believe he is worthy of this. When he is faced with his own mortality, the fact that when he gets this tuberculosis, and he knows that his time on this earth is withering away. He sees his body like degrading before his very eyes. He realizes that the legacy that he has on this earth is he was a father that was not there when his child needed him most. He has nobody that really cares for him that he didn't hurt. And the only people that care for him only care for him because they see the value in possessing him, like his father figure in Dutch Vanderlyn. So he views John Marston as the only thing that will be his legacy. A brother that can live a life that he will never live. And that is what makes Arthur Morgan such a tragic character, dude. Like, the more you think about it, the sadder it is, because you're like, fuck, bro! Arthur! Like, dude, I know some people try to be like, it's not that deep. This is what's cool about Arthur Morgan's character, and why I think Arthur Morgan's one of the most well-written characters that Rockstar has ever done. Because if you just play the game, it's not sad. But the more you look into it, you feel the tragedy that is Arthur Morgan's character, as a character that did not live in peace because he believes he never deserved paradise. I'm going to put Arthur Morgan in... Oh, bro, it was bad. It's bad. I'm sorry. I'll stand on this. Arthur Morgan has a harder life than a lot of people on here. And I'm going to put him right... I might move him up if I'm being honest, dude. Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Bro, Aang, I want you to think about this. Aang inherited a power that was so powerful that it could reform the world around him. Not just the physical world, but the spiritual world. He was brought up as to be the savior of his people, the bringer of balance to the world after Avatar Roku. And he didn't want to have this responsibility because he felt as though that his destiny robbed him of his agency. Aang wanted to live a normal life, and it was his power that is what restricted him from living that life that he wanted to live. He wanted to just live a life of a normal air nomad. He didn't want to interfere with the people around him because as a air nomad, and I believe Aang was one of the best iterations of that culture in universe of Avatar: The Last Airbender, that his last little bit of rebellion before, what happened. Him leaving the air nomads was him rejecting his destiny because he didn't want to be what Avatar Roku was. He didn't want to be what the Avatar meant, and that was a bringer of peace. He believes that everybody could live in peace. So him, when he disregards his destiny and leaves the air nomads, that causing the end of his people, because running from destiny caused the ending of the air nomads culture pretty much. I know they came back technically, but brother, that's really dark. Hilariously dark what happened. You're telling me Aang is to blame for basically the end of his culture as he knows it, because the Fire Nation attacked the air nomads purely because that's where he thought the Avatar was. That if you do not stand to your destiny, destiny will find you. And that is what happened. He refused to bring order to check the Fire Nation when he did before they gained power. And him disregarding his destiny. And destiny came back and disregarded him. And almost taking out the entirety of the air nomads. The end of the air nomads is almost exclusively to blame on Aang. And Aang, even after all of this tragedy, to all the pain that he caused by inaction, is still trying to be as good as he possibly can be. Aang has every single conceivable excuse to go into the Fire Nation and just annihilate everybody. Go into Avatar state and literally cause a cataclysm of biblical proportions inside of the Fire Nation. But he doesn't want to do this because then, in his mind, he is no better than what Ozai is. And it's such a childlike innocence way of looking at, the tragedy and the realities of war and conflict, where he believes that he is just as bad as Ozai if he enacts his will upon the Fire Nation. When in reality, it was his disregard of destiny that caused the end of his people. And it's him trying to get into there. Even the blockades of, the water tribes was because the Fire Nation had an understanding of the Avatar cycle. So they wanted to deplete the water tribe of all their resources. And they wanted to basically push back the return of the Avatar further and further until the Avatar came into the Fire Nation. And then they could use the Avatar as a weapon. That's what I think what the Fire Nation was ultimately trying to do. They were trying to circumvent the destiny and the use of the Avatar for their own personal means. And then you had an Avatar that didn't want to enact their own destiny, and that inaction caused the end of his people. Inaction can sometimes be worse than action that you believe is unjust. And in the end, Aang was able to do good, and able to basically have everything that he wanted technically. And I do believe that's one part, I don't know. I always thought about having Ozai alive was always the super happy ending I would have liked to have seen, that Aang, his sacrifice. Maybe this is a blast, I'm looking at it through this point of view. I think if Aang ended up icing Ozai, or Zuko iced Ozai, I wouldn't mind it at all. I'll just be real with you, and I think the reason that Aang spared Ozai, unironically, was the fact that Zuko got redeemed. I think Zuko's redemption gave Aang more faith in his ideals, because if Zuko could come around, somebody that was born to hate Aang, and was, again, if we're going to tie this all together, his destiny was to find the Avatar, and the Avatar's destiny was to stop the Fire Nation, and Zuko was able to disregard his goal and destiny in order to become friends with the Avatar. Aang saw that as, if I can change Zuko, I might be able to change Ozai. And I think that's such... I like how that's being viewed, and Aang's struggle through all of that. I'm sorry, dude. He's not as bad as Arthur Morgan, because Aang ended up having, the better of it all. But I'm still putting him in pretty bad. I'll be honest, bro. Aang's childhood is so bad, you have to put him in pretty bad. I'll put him right there. The Winchester Brothers. Brother, I'm sorry, if you watch Supernatural, it is so hilarious, everything that these two brothers go to the point that it actively takes you out. I need to explain this to you. These two brothers right here, okay, and their physical bodies are 25 to maybe 30 years old for this, right? Their souls are literally hundreds of years old. Do you know where their souls have been? Being tormented in the underworld by the devil himself for centuries at a time. The fact that they are not both mentally broken to a literal, absurd level state, and the reasoning behind it is that, oh no, they're just very mentally strong, is so dumb. I'll just keep it real with you. It's so dumb. And I understand that they were like, they just didn't want to get rid of any of their main leads, and that's part of the reason that everybody just keeps on getting resurrected. But by like the third time that these two bros are facing up against the devil himself, and what I mean by the devil, I mean in universe, this is actually the devil that rebelled. I'm not kidding. The devil. And these guys win. Brother, there's a point, I should have put them in the, I don't know if I put them in the plot armor video. They should have been in it. Dude, there's a point where Sam and Dean Winchester literally go toe-to-toe with the god, like, god of their universe. This is a universe where everything, literally everything supernatural is existing at the same time, and they have gone toe-to-toe with just about every named god, demon that's ever existed in any mythology, named or unnamed. And they somehow win. And it gets to a point where I'm like, bro, give them peace, dude. Give them peace. It's so, like, okay, maybe not give them peace, because they do have some level of peace. I'm going to say hang in there. Because it gets to a point where I'm like, dude, they keep fighting the devil. How are you winning? Like, plot armor itself is going absurdo style. Well, actually, in universe, it's because all the story was already pre-written. They beat God. Again, that's literally what happens in the show. To the point where I'm like, nothing makes sense. Literally nothing. Hang in there. They fight death itself and win. Hang in there. I'm going to put him right there. The Ice King from Adventure Time. Yeah, bro, this is a real one pick. Let me tell you something, man. Is ignorance bliss? If you lived a life of pain, is ignorance truly bliss? That is like the argument that I go to when I'm having like discussions about Ice King. Because Ice King is a character that has the memories of what the world was like before the Great Mushroom War. He had memories of love. He had memories of rejection. He had memories of everything that was humanity before the end. And he had to sacrifice that portion of humanity to save what was left. But what ended up happening is it turned out to, no, you didn't end up saving much. The only thing that you ended up really saving was a little vampire girl named Marceline. And Ice King giving every last bit of his memories, his soul, everything that is him away in order to defend Marceline in this world, because he has nothing left that he can care about. The only thing that Ice King really cares about is this little vampire girl, because he's lost every other aspect of humanity that he frankly cares about. The only reason he doesn't give himself to the crown and live in this ignorant bliss, because if your entire life is pain, basically the anesthesia for this pain is ignorance to it, the lack of memory of this. So, instead of the Ice King putting on the crown and just wiping his memory and just forgetting everything, he decides to basically chaperone this little vampire girl named Marceline. She has nobody, she has no family, and he wants to be the family to her, raise her up, give her a life, give her a chance at succeeding. And then Ice King gets to the point where to defend her, he has to give away his last shreds of humanity to defend Marceline. And then Marceline becomes the tragic character, because Marceline has this reminder that the father figure that she had that legitimately cared about her, lost his humanity to protect her. And when you're looking at Ice King, it's bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it's bad. But is it not a sort of blessing that he was able to sacrifice everything that he had left to give the one thing that he actually cared about at that point in time, that being Marceline, the chance at survival, even if it meant giving every other part of him? I'm going to put Ice King in bad. I'm going to put Ice King, very bad, tragic character. He had it rough. I'm going to put it right there. Batman, Bruce Wayne. I'm going to keep it 100% honest with you. We had like a real big moral discussion. Like, not moral discussion. We have like a good character study so far. Batman, I'm sorry, dude. Like, some of y'all missed the point. Batman is mentally broken. He is literally a person that would be at like a therapist or Arkham Asylum itself. This man's way of coping with the tragedy of yesterday is to punish the crimes of today, in order to make Gotham a better place. But the way that he is doing it is inherently flawed, because he does not want to do what has to be done to insert a brighter future for tomorrow. I know it's become a meme that it's like Bruce Wayne would do more good. No, Bruce Wayne would do more good for Gotham than Batman could ever. And I know there's like a disconnect between comic audiences and movie audiences, and I need this to be explained. In the comics, Bruce Wayne has donated literal billions of dollars into helping Gotham. He has done a lot. I would argue you should just close Arkham Asylum. Like, I'm just going to keep it on. I don't think Arkham Asylum has ever really rehabilitated forever. So maybe get rid of it now. And then you have movie Batman, who, I'm 100% with you. Batman ain't done shit for Gotham, dude. Ain't done nothing. You beat up some criminals. You beget a cycle that is going to continue to infinitum because the same places that are still infested with crime when you were a child are still infested with that crime. What did we fix, Batman? What did we do? No, you use the goons of Gotham as an emotional punching bag because you refuse to see a therapist. You dress up as a bat because you fell in a cave one time and you don't want to use any force multipliers because, oh yeah, bro, beating somebody within an inch of their life with my bare hands is infinitely more humane than just going bah. Like, that's the problem that I have. I do believe there is a level in terms of, if there is a chance for rehabilitation, then rehabilitation should be something that we can do. But if there's no chance to rehabilitation when you're talking about somebody like Joker, okay? Get rid of him! Get rid of him! What are we talking about, bro? I'll tell you this, bro. I've talked about Justified Crassouts a ton, and I'm going to cover this guy next. You know, I don't want to say his name, but all I'm saying is this. Batman is actually insane. Like he is. I'm sorry, you can't tell me the guy that's a billionaire that dresses up as a bat is perfectly good mentally. He doesn't have to wear that. I'm putting Batman, and I'm just going to keep it honest with you, it's not that bad. It's literally not that bad. Oh, I lost my parents. Get in line! Get in line, bro! Everybody here lost their family. Literally everybody here lost their family. Or their family doesn't like them. Get in line. I'm going to put you in. Not that bad. It really isn't that bad, bro. Jason Todd. Ooh. Jason Todd had a way harder life than Batman. And Jason Todd was a real one for how he handled it. That's my hot take, bro. 100%. Okay, Batman, tell me this. Okay. Oh, I lost my family in Crime Alley. I'm sorry, bro. Let's look at Jason Todd. Brother, Jason Todd was sold out by his mother to the Joker, where Jason Todd had to go through it for a full year and basically almost gets saved by Batman, only to get got in the final instance, and then gets resurrected in the Lazarus pit, where he is actually insane, but he had enough sense to be like, yeah, no, Batman, you're completely and utterly in the wrong. I'm sorry, you can't be keeping the Joker alive here. And you know what? I'm going to keep on saying this. I know for the people that are a longtime viewer of the channel, it's become a meme at this point. I'm sorry. The Red Hood goes too far sometimes. 100%. I agree. He goes too far sometimes. But it was this one line in Batman Into, I think it's Under the Red Hood, that legitimately caused me to crash out as a child. And it is Jason egging Batman on to get rid of the Joker. And when Batman, says some stuff about it, Jason just says, I'm not talking about getting rid of the average thug on the street. I'm not even talking about Bane. I'm not talking about Penguin. I'm talking about him. The man who took me from you. I saw you as a father. So the man who took your son away from you. I'm asking you to get rid of him. That is it. And Batman says, well, if I get rid of him, I can't stop. Oh! Jason's a better person than me. I would have crashed the fuck out at that point, dude. What do you mean? It's like, yeah, man, you don't think I feel anger? I don't think you care. I don't. I think this entire superhero thing that you're on is an extravagant coping mechanism with the fact that mommy and daddy aren't coming home from Crime Alley. I do. That's what I think this is. Ugh. That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like, bro. Jason's brother, Batman is the hero that Gotham got. Jason Todd is the hero that they deserve, dude. Deserve. No, bro, get rid of him. Get rid of him. Jason Todd, pretty bad. pretty bad. He ended up having some piece hooked up with a few baddies, so I'm gonna keep him in pretty. I'll put it in pretty bad. But like, bro, are we that ass right now? Nah, pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker, born of a virgin birth on the desert planet of Tatooine, is born into slavery that was allowed to proliferate under the Jedi Order. I know people still debate that over the governance of the Outer Rim is very, very sakey, and to that I say, let me get this straight. The Jedi Order caused a civil war because of the Separatists having a few different trade agreements, but slavery... That wasn't cause for a big extravagant galactic war, and instead we're gonna have like allegiances with planets that practice slavery in an age where we literally got fucking light speed. What are you talking about, bro? You have robots. Why do we need slaves? Like, on a real note, bro, you have like 3 robots that are designed for this type of labor. What's the point of slavery? Okay. I'm getting too far into this. I'm getting too far into the logistics of Star Wars, okay? Okay, born into slavery, his mom is a slave, therefore he is a slave, okay? And then these space wizards come out of nowhere, okay? And the first woman that he's not related to, that being Padme, is a princess undercover where, I'm sorry, bro, Padme 100%... She put a spell on Anakin. There was some weirdness there that I'm like, okay, you're getting too connected to this little desert boy. Calm it down a little bit. Calm it down. You're in a mission, Padme. Chill. Okay, but that goes on. And then Anakin gets basically adopted by the Jedi as a child so they can form him into the Jedi that they need him to be for the upcoming conflict because of his midichlorian count. Because he was born of a virgin birth. Basically, Star Wars Jesus, if we're being for real here. And then we look at that the Jedi, again, governing the galaxy, do not free his mom because of emotional attachment, which in reality, I'm sorry, what do you think would cause more problems to go into the future? More resentment. Because resentment leads to hate. Hate leads to anger. Anger leads to the dark side. Tell me what's gonna cause more resentment. Freeing his mom, and then she could live in like some type of help on like Coruscant or like Naboo, and you don't have to tell him. Or leaving the mom enslaved, and now Anakin is going to blame himself for leaving his mom on the slave planet. You tell me what's going to cause more resentment here, okay? But then it goes on. He sees Padme a few times. He gets trained in the way of the Jedi. He's a natural. Done. He's looking pretty good. And then he finds Padme again, proceeds to have, I'm sorry, one of the most early 2000s types of romances I've ever seen. I don't like sand. Yeah, bro, because last time you were there, it had slavery. And I'm sorry, dog. There were a lot of red flags when it came to Anakin. But we're not going to get into that yet. There's a lot of red flags when it came to Anakin. And then you leave Anakin Skywalker, okay? The dude who you said he became a Jedi too late, okay? On honeymoon planet with his childhood crush, and you expect nothing to happen. Okay. Whatever. He goes back to Tatooine. The freest mother, obviously, because he has the memories of this. This wouldn't be the case if you just had, a witness protection program in the galaxy, and you could, protect the mother of, basically, Star Wars Jesus. But no, we're not going to do that. We don't have the resources for that, but we have the resources for a little fucking Clone War, but whatever. Okay, so he goes back to Tatooine, obviously, slaughters a whole group of, basically, sand people, gets rid of them, comes back, goes to... Okay, let's just gloss over Attack of the Clones. And then we go into Clone Wars. Anakin, I'm not even BSing you, is literally the most, decorated general in the entirety of the Clone Wars. Okay? The highest midichlorian count of any Jedi ever. Okay? So, most established, had the most lightsaber battles of people in that era outside of a few. Okay? Competing with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Mace Windu, who are, both masters on the council. And then goes to the council after he's become, again, I gotta preface this, the most decorated general in the entirety of the Clone Wars, demonstrated unparalleled loyalty, And they suit him down like, you're pretty young over here. Brother, I don't know if you know this. You have a literal fucking NPC dinosaur Jedi with a crest over there. They got taken out in Attack of the Clones. And what do you mean I don't get a seat at the table? What are we talking about? Brother, I'll say this right now. The only thing that was unjustified about Anakin's crass out, we're not doing crass out, was the fact that he took out the younglings. Other than that, brother, the Jedi had to go. Well, I'm gonna do my best Yoda one. War Masters, Jedi or not, we do not believe in emotions in the Force, young Skywalker. You guys are literally governing a war right now. The Jedi have now taken the place of the Peacekeepers, and I am the most effective one of you. We're War Masters! Shut the fuck up, Yoda. We're done. Stop. Okay? And give me a seat at the table. I crashed out. I don't know if there's going to be a cut or not, but I crashed out a little bit. Okay. I'm putting Anakin Skywalker. Okay? We didn't even cover him turning into Darth Vader, the fact that he had to ice Padme, and he didn't have to do that because he was having a legitimate crass out session and taking out Padme. Didn't know about his 2 children, got locked up in basically like a prison suit altogether, and on top of all of that, just had a pretty terrible life because he had to basically remember all of the sins of his past, even though he was wronged by a good portion of them. Brother, give them peace. Anakin had it rough, dude. Anakin had it rough. There's no question on that. Doomslayer. Okay, man, bro, we have been yapping for a minute. Okay, Doomslayer's actually pretty straightforward. He was a Doom Marine that served on Mars, and hell invasion kind of happened, and then he was defending it all by lonesome, went into hell, went out, saw his bunny Daisy got, massacred, and it's implied that his family got massacred, and then their souls got turned into argent gasoline, which is essentially the power of the multiverse. And then he is so angry because he'll never get to see his family again, even in the multiverse, that he launched a forever crusade against demons. And this is the truth. This is how I view it. Yeah, no, dog, he had it rough. Literal, eons of time he has been going at the demons. And this one I'm just going to keep short, because I talk about Doomslayer all the time. I think you guys know, and I have a Doomslayer lore video I'm cooking anyways. But I'm putting the Doomslayer in, give them peace. Give them peace, too. Now, he's still actively going right now, bro. His vacation is hell. Give them peace. Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager's a weird one, because I'm working on a video right now of, going over the justifiability of a ton of villains in fiction, and Eren Yeager's, near the bottom of it. But Eren Yeager's such an interesting character, because he went from a boy that craved freedom from his walls to find out that he is ideologically in a prison for the sins that his forefathers have committed. I actually think Attack on Titan... the more I look into Attack on Titan, the more I end up appreciating it. Because a large portion of Attack on Titan is meant to be a symbolism of, are you more free if you are ignorant? Are you, is your people more free if they are ignorant of the crimes of the past? That this cycle of oppressors create oppressors. The people that were oppressed become those oppressors. And that's this endless cycle of pain begets pain. Because the Eldians subjugated the Marleyans. And the Marleyans subjugated the Eldians for crimes that they committed, and rightfully so. But before that, it was conflicts over and over again. And the Eldians just got lucky. And then Eren Yeager committing the rumbling, getting rid of 80% of the population. This is going to sound messed up. When Eren Yeager took out 80% of the population is one of the most selfish events that you could occur. Because there's only 2 things that you could have done. You either don't do anything and you wait for the Marleyans to end the circle of hatred by getting rid of everybody in parody. Doing Zeke's plan, which, I'll be real, probably would have ended better in the long run. Or you get rid of everybody. That the rumbling, instead of taking out 80%, should have taken out 100%. You do the rumbling and you get rid of everybody. You end this cycle of violence today and now. Those were your 2 options, but Eren didn't commit to any one of these. He didn't want peace and survival of his people. He only wanted peace for the lifetimes of his friends. And that is the inherent selfishness of Eren Yeager. He didn't want to commit to an annihilation of a group of people because he didn't want to be what the Marleyans were, but in turn caused the Marleyans to commit their own version of the rumbling on the people of parody because at the end of the day, the Eldians were punished for the rumbling because their entire civilization ended up getting destroyed in like a bombing, and that's like near the tail end of it. And I believe a lot of this is meant to be like a good like setting up of the end, that like now the island of Parody is stuck in this post-apocalyptic state, and this post-apocalyptic state is meant to be a like almost a metaphor that the person who has to live through the rubble created by the conflict of yesterday does not have the understanding of what happened to cause this. He is living through the pain of the sins of his forefathers, and he has no knowledge of this. But in his mind, he is more free because he does not believe in revenge on the people that did this. So I'll get into this. I think it'll come out tomorrow at the time of making this. Is like the ideological prison that Eren Yeager is in, did it become worse? Or was it better before he got outside the walls? Like, you can make an argument that the people of Parody were more free when they were in those walls because they didn't understand the burden that they carried and the hatred that was pointed towards them because they didn't understand what their ancestors did. Eren Yeager's life, I'm going to put it in bad. I'm going to put him in bad. I think that's a valid take. Harry Potter. Easy life. Real easy life, bro. I'm sorry. David Goggins had a harder life than Harry Potter. He just did. Harry Potter, let me get this straight, okay? Well, his parents, what happened to them? He was a baby. He had no memory of that. At least Batman has PTSD from that happening. Well, he has a scar. Dog, I'm so sorry, bro. That little Oscar, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm gonna keep it 100. If a dude today had a scar like that, you are the coolest person at your school. If you had, and it's not even like, oh, well, we only know. No. If you are a guy, okay, not even just a guy, brother, even if you, it doesn't even matter who you were. If you had a cool lightning bolt scar, brother, you're the coolest person at your school. Fight me on that, 100%, okay? And then, oh, well, his family was pretty bad. David Goggins had a worse father than Harry Potter did, like caretakers. I'm just gonna admit it. Was it that bad? I'll be real. No. Well, he lived underneath the stairs. You got to live in a house, though. I got a real no, bro. You got to live in a house. It could be a lot worse, man. Oh, well, I can't wait to go back to the wizarding world. Yeah, because you're a celebrity. Brother, I'm sorry, Harry Potter is the Nepo baby of the Chosen Ones. He's not even the Chosen One. Neville Longbottom is the one that beat Voldemort, by the way. Dude, Harry Potter is the biggest Nepo baby in the entirety of all Chosen Ones. Anakin struggled more. Paul Atreides struggled more. Aang struggled more. Brother, Batman struggled more. Harry Potter, it's not that bad. Literally not that bad. Man up a little bit. Come on. Oh, well, my family. Ugh. Brother, I'm sorry. You literally inherited such a wild amount of money in the wizarding world that I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, you gotta live with some bad caretakers where you have to live underneath some stairs. Are we dead ass right now? Oh, stop. Get out of here, bro. It's not that bad. Not that bad. Man up a little bit, buddy. Spider-Man. Oh, yeah, no, Spider-Man had a way tougher life. Let me get this straight. So Spider-Man, okay? Lost his... this is actually a good example. Spider-Man lost his parents before he could even really remember in most iterations. He don't bring that up. Bro. He took it on the chin. He walked that out. Mom and Daddy, gone. Okay. Keep on moving, bro. Struggles are real here. I ain't gonna whine about it. Okay, I live with my Aunt May. I live with my Uncle Ben. Love him, bro. Oh, no, Brother, I'm sorry. Uncle Ben... And that's another thing, bro. Spider-Man handled the loss of Uncle Ben way better than Batman handled the loss of his parents. It's not even remotely close, dude. But Spider-Man actually handled all of this pretty well, okay? And don't even I'm gonna keep it real, bro. This is where I gotta be honest. I'm not a Mary Jane guy. I'm a Gwen Stacy, dude. Dude, I'm sorry. Mary Jane would bother the shit out of me. Man, Sam Raimi movies, cutting that off right away. Get out of here, Mary Jane. We ain't playing this game, bro. Gwen Stacy all the way. That's a real one. Okay? But then he loses Gwen Stacy. That's catapulted him up. Bro, I'm sorry. Spider-Man. Spider-Man's pretty bad. Bad as Aang. I would say near the same level because, Aang got to live a pretty great life after his childhood. Spider-Man struggled quite a bit through, but I'm going to put Spider-Man in pretty bad, though. I think that's valid. Talion from Shadow of Mordor. Bro. Okay, pretty normal life up until like his mid-30s. And then his family end up getting iced by the Dark Lord, Sauron and his followers, the Uruks and the Orcs. And then he launches a multi-decade-long campaign in order to push back the armies of Mordor to buy everyone else of the lands of Middle-earth time. Okay? Oh, I'm about to burp. No, I'm not. Okay. Brother, Talion is such a real one for that, dude. Talion sacrificed every part of him, peace in the afterlife, everything, in order for the people of Middle-earth not to suffer the same thing that he had to go through. Talion is such a real one for that, dude. 60 years just keeping everybody at bay because he had to stop. Brother, 60 years is such a hilarious amount of time. It is, bro. That's just an absurd amount of time, okay? And the fact that he's able to go through all of that and still hold on to that humanity, defending people that, in all reality, don't care as much about him because he doesn't want to put them through the very pain that he felt. Betrayed by just about everybody also, too. Talion's a hang in there, bro. And, I do need to say this because some people do misunderstand the ending. I don't believe Talion is alive at the end of Shadow War. I think that was purely meant to be something symbolic. I believe when Talion's walking into the sunset, that is literally him walking into the afterlife. Him throwing off his dagger and his armor is him finally letting go of this rage that he had towards Sauron and all the people that took away his family. Because the yearning to see his son and wife again became more than his anger towards the people that wronged him. He got over it because he loved them more than he hated them. Because he lived through these decades of war. He saw like the horrors of these conflicts. And all he wanted at the end of the day was to see his son again. Oh my gosh, that's sad. Oh my god. Hang in there, buddy. Oh my gosh, that one nearly, Arthur Morgan nearly got me, Talion nearly got me. Those both nearly got me. Master Chief. I'm gonna keep it real here, dog. Call me a hater. Wait. Let me go back a little bit. Master Chief. Dude, imagine getting abducted by your family and they replace you with a clone that ends up like getting got by leukemia like a few months later so your family doesn't know that you ever went missing, which is crazy, by the way. And you are trained as a weapon of war for a conflict of tomorrow, and you are meant to get your humanity stripped from you because you're meant to be used as a weapon to get rid of other humans, and thus stripping away your humanity is the only way to that. You are not a person, you are a weapon of war. Only for you to have to defend humanity, to learn love for humanity, because you are defending it against an extermination. You are facing the Covenant. You are facing the Flood. You are facing the Banished. You are facing Atriox. So you have to learn to love humanity despite having your humanity stripped from you. The only connection that you have being like an AI Cortana, because that's the only thing that you can build a connection with, because you've had every part of that of your being stripped from you. And it's Master Chief learning to love humanity, learning to not just love, but learning to care for things again, despite literally being a weapon of war, is something that I think is an underappreciated part of Master Chief's character. I'm putting Master Chief, honestly, bro, I'm putting it in bad. I would put it at the same level as like an Eren Yeager. But bro, it is, like, if you think about it, like Master Chief, what he really has is he's just an aura farmer, bro. Like, I know, in reality, that's all he really has at this point. He doesn't have anything else except for his love for humanity. I'm putting it in bad in terms of his life. Guts from Berserk. Okay. Dude, imagine being born and you were born out of a woman that was, like, you know, from a tree. And everybody that, like, your entire, you are your bloodline. There is no relay since everybody is gone. You get picked up by a mercenary band, and your mercenary dad blames you for the death of your mercenary mother, even though it completely and utterly wasn't your fault. And then your mercenary dad named Gambino is actively trying to get you got your entire childhood, and he sells you to a man named Donovan for a night. Okay, that ended up happening. And then you end up accidentally your dad, and then you blame yourself for your entire life, and then you find a group of people called the Band of the Hawk ran by this femboy named Griffith that you think is pretty cool, and your love interest for the entirety of the story named Casca ends up hating you, but then you slowly but surely build these connections again, learn how to love people again, only to have that all stripped away with from you by Griffith, because Griffith had all the human connection, but he wanted to get rid of it because he wanted to be a god. And Guts is a man that's trying to kill a god, but he doesn't want to sacrifice his humanity, setting up that duality. You lost your love interest. He has been mentally broken. Everybody that you've ever cared about has been gone, and you're learning to build those connections again. When we're looking at Guts, I'm sorry, bro. Guts, I'm keeping it brief because the Berserk video is also coming. Give them peace, bro. It gets to a point where it's just too much. And that's where I put Guts. I'm going to put it in give them peace. And there you go. Those are some of the most tragic characters in fiction. If you enjoyed this video, please consider like, comment, and subscribe. We're about to get to 250,000 subscribers before the end of 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year. 500,000 subscribers before the release of GTA 6 is the goal. And I think we're going to be able to hit it with the support of you guys. It's absolutely insane that I get to do this for a living. And I feel blessed every single time I turn on the camera. I'm hyped to make you guys content, and I just hope that you guys get to enjoy it. So subscribe, hit the bell icon to stay notified, and I will see you all in the next video. Adios, guys.